Hi. So, for thems what are interested in budget knives and edge retention, we've got an interesting result here with the Craftsman Red Eye $15 knife. We've completed 325 cuts of this sisal rope, half-inch sisal rope from Harbor Freight. Like so. Sometimes the cut doesn't go all the way. Well, that one went all the way. Sometimes it doesn't go all the way. Well, I cut, the remainder of it. Something like that, I don't mind. But, if you got something, if it only goes halfway or whatever, I make sure I finish the cut. And this is caning the cutting board. I did notice a little bit of glinting here on the tip. There, you see that? Apart from that, it looks fairly undaunted by the task. Just that little area up the right of the tip there. It's getting a bit mashed. And I think that's from being mashed into the cutting board. So, to that point, here's the Launch 20 that did 325 cuts. And here's the Bel Air. And this is my redone full convex to 0. And this is the factory edge. And I was hoping that my edge was going to significantly outperform this factory edge because it's the same steel from the same manufacturer. But I've gone into I've gone past the factory edge and into the good steel, theoretically. And, convexed it and what have you. But my theory, which could be a cope to allow for my inferior sharpening, but my theory is that, because I made it so thin, it's one thing when you're cutting through the rope, you're cutting, but it's another thing when you then hit into the board, which you can see it's getting wrecked. When it's hits into the board, it stops and it mashes. I probably shouldn't do that, but it is a little dull now. And so I think that accounts for this one outperforming because it's more robust. So at 325, I was definitely noticing both of these Kershaws. Although, it will still slice here up at the tip there. But there we go. You start to get that. So let's see the Bel Air. Oops. Oh, excuse me. All right. This is my cutting as well, okay? I know that this should be able to do some slicing. See? But you can see also that it will start to maybe struggle a little there at the tip. But I'm fairly confident in saying that, this one is outperforming the Launch 20. In any case, for comparison here, it's more interesting we have two factory edges, right? Maybe we'll take a measurement in a second, but let me just show you this one on the same piece of paper, having performed the same number of cuts out of the box on the same rope. Let me get down to a fresh manageable. No? See, again, this could be somewhat subjective. There could be some psychology going on. But by my lights, this is currently outperforming the Kershaw. If so, not by much. But we shall continue with these two, because I haven't done any cutting with this one since the last 325. So I'll just do some more with this and then some more with that, and we'll see how that goes. Now, just curious to take a little measurement or two for fun and edification. There it is. Just take out this scale too, why not? So yeah, very interesting for me, comparative study. This knife you can get for around 150 bucks. So you could get 10 of these for one of these. The Craftsman Red Eye beats the absolute pants off this one ergonomically, at least by my lights. One key factor being this area here. Because, okay, I understand that we have a choil for baby, right? So you get locked in there. And now my hand is, whatever that is, a ½ inch. You could take a measurement. With a ruler, it looks like about a ½ inch from the start of the cutting edge. And if I do this here, wait, because I had this rested on my finger, but this is not the... Oh, yeah, right. So that is about ½ an inch, right? If I do that with this, we're getting up to closer to 3/4 of an inch. So that's not good. But if I want to choke up, now what? Now I'm on a knobbly thing. It's pranging me, and it's kind of pointing it's directing my finger now down into the cutting edge. Blah! What about this? Grab it like that. This one is like clutching your favorite pucco. I was concerned about my middle finger hitting this button, but I think we're just about okay. Now when it comes to the rope cutting, you imagine it's obviously going to be a lot nicer putting your weight through your hand through this than through this, just on stock thickness. But also, the palm of my hand is going like this here. So on this one, it's going right on this with the nice sharp edges. All right, and that hump there. Whereas on this, we got a flat, a nice wide flat, and a nice thick chunky handle. And so it is actually way more pleasurable to do the rope cutting with this knife. It's a breeze. This feels spindly and unstable and just not quite as good, really. And another one that I've been did some cuts with was this one, and this is an absolute breeze for the same reason, right? You put your hand on that claw, barely even need a glove. Right. Weight comparison. There you go. 2.5 ounces to, what is it, 3.7, 3.8? Yeah. So there's a significant difference. But I mean, yeah, what would you expect? Overall blade length on this, what would be, like a 3 and a yeah, about a 3¼ inches, and the cutting length was closer to 3½. So yeah, a little shorter, and probably a little less cutting length because there's less sweep on it. Let's you'll almost maybe see what's going on by looking at the shadow here. You can see how much of the blade is contacting the board. So probably a pretty similar length of blade. Kershaw might be a little better because of the lower point. So yeah, I'm interested in the behind the edge thickness now. So we were getting 19.5, 18 thousandths up towards the edge here. I mean, up towards the point, excuse me. I'll do that again to see whether anything's changed in the interim. I think I was just off the bevel there. So yeah, you know, we're talking right behind the edge, about 19. And up here where we get the glinting, excuse me, I'm struggling a little, but yeah. 17.5, 17. Well, what do you know? What do you know? We're registering pretty much identical behind the edge thickness on these two grinds. Aha, and now that reminds me of another thing. This thing. Whoop. Okay. We'll do one at a time. Okay. Do you see what I see? It's a little warpy. No, they say Magna Cut warps. And this is a very thin blade. And this is not, you know, sometimes I get very disappointed. That's acceptable to me. But this is a little better. I reckon. You know, again, maybe subjective. It's kind of similar, you know. Seeing it is coming off to the right a little bit there, right? In both instances, going off to the right, but this looks a little more like, you know, there's kind of chicanery going on. This just looks just that little bit more warped. You know? It is a much thinner blade, so that's... And it's Magna Cut, which, as I say, I gather That's a thing with Magna Cut. It tends to warp. It's just an issue. It's part of the personality of the steel. Well, I've enjoyed this comparative study thus far. And I guess before I call it a day, maybe put a couple more 100 cuts in. And I'll report my findings later. Thanks for watching.